Welcome to the Hoopstrology Podcast Season 2, brought to you by the Vice Citians. My name is Jesus Acevedo Jr., and I'm joined by the Zodiac GM. How are you, Zodiac?
How are you? I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing good. You know, we're going to get into our NBA topics, but something I just wanted to bring up and talk about, listeners, is that it's about to start being that sickness that sports fans get. So, talk about that sickness. It just overtakes people. Like people have done studies on how much work is lost because of this sickness. Do you know what I'm talking about, Zodiac?
Is it March Madness?
March Madness, Zodiac. You know exactly. We'll get out of my head, Zodiac. March Madness. It is crazy. They've actually done study and say that there's less work productivity during March Madness, especially those first 2 weeks when there's games from almost morning to midnight. There's less productivity work done because of games. Can you believe that?
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Like at your place of business, do you do you guys get into this or?
I would say some folks. I mean, me personally, as you know, since last year, I don't really watch college basketball as much as I should, but yeah, I definitely see people around, especially where I work at. They're very into it for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely into it. My record plays, U of H, University of Houston, doing well. Whose house? Cook's house. So it's number 2 in the whole U.S. Big 12 champions back to back. Kelvin Sampson. This man has just turned this basketball program around.
Yeah,
the whole program. I remember he used to walk around handing out free tickets to go see his U of H basketball team play before he got them to where it's because building. He laid the foundation. He said, I'm going to start from one brick and I'm going to build the best wall. And this is literally, where they are. They're probably going to go number 2 overall next week in Selection Sunday. One of the number 1 seeds. But yeah, so next week's episode, Zodiac and I, we're going to break down each number 1 seed. Zodiac, are you going to be ready for that?
Yes, I'm ready. And last year, just a quick note, the same thing we did for first time. Remember the first analyzed Final Four, and me not knowing too much about college basketball, just finding their birthdays and everything. UConn, was it UConn that won?
Yeah,
I had UConn as the best overall synergies from the top 4, and they ended up winning. I thought that was pretty cool, So
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. So just like last year, I think last year we did the 4 number 1 seeds going into it, and then we did the Final Four. So we'll do the same thing for this year for season 2 of Hoopstrology. But yeah, so looking forward to March Madness. I think I'm gonna pick Houston to go all the way. I think this is the year. I think this team is something about them. They didn't lose any games on the road, Zodiac. How do you do that? They didn't lose any road games this year.
I need to look at that team.
I'm telling you, look into this team. They have a
different.
Yeah. Kelvin Sampson, that Libra energy, and I'm interested to see what is his sign.
He is a Libra. Yeah, Kelvin Sampson. I remember from last year. He is a Libra. I have to look up.
What's his moon sign?
Let's see though. I have to go back. The thing about college is a little bit difficult. Not difficult
because the information,
their birthdays, their information. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to find, but for the most part, we can kind of pinpoint exactly what their sun and moon is.
Yeah. His best player, LJ Cryer, October 9th, another Libra.
It's another Libra. That's interesting. That's their best player?
That's their best player. Yeah, shooting guard.
Okay.
Man, Kelvin Sampson and then point guard. Something about it,
last year, Shed. Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Hey. Yeah. And he's doing good things over there, very steady work,
right.
Steady work, not big play or whatever, but that defense, oh man, that defense is going to keep him in this league. You mark my words.
Yeah. Smart dude.
Smart player too. So, and with that, who else is smart?
Who?
There's 2 sides. I could go 2 ways with this. I could say, who's smart and who's not smart.
Okay. Who is
Not smart would be Nico Collins and the Dallas Mavericks, right? But who's smart is, the Lakers and Rob Pelinka and whatever they did, But I think it's more to do with the Luka magic,
Yes.
And it's IQ, and that's where we're going with our first topic is the Los Angeles Lakers because these Lakers were rolling. I know they just lost, to a tough one, but they were rolling. What it was, 8 or 9 in a row.
Yeah.
For these Lakers, 8-game winning streak. They're playing some great basketball. LeBron James, leading the way, 28 points, 29 points per game. But man, it seems like now that Luka has gotten into game shape, we're like, wow, okay, this is why everybody was still so in shock about the stray, and why Dallas Mavericks fans are like fleeting like the Titanic sinking. You know, it's just tough. It's just tough to see what the Lakers are doing with Luka, and just what Luka does by itself, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But can you remind us about this team and how they're structured now, especially with the moves? 'Cause I know there was one move that they made even before Luka and after Luka that you said was sneaky good for the synergy. I always remember. So yeah, so kind of like remind us, what are they like?
So the Lakers remind me a lot like the Boston Celtics synergy wise. Their alignment, the way they're structured based on their featured players, right? So the Lakers, obviously they have Luka Doncic, who's a Pisces, and LeBron James, who's a Capricorn, right? So those two are your best players and they're your go-to players, and that's a strong synergy starting point, right? And that's big for any team, right? But not only that, they're also compatible to JJ Redick, who is a Cancer. So you're looking at a Cancer and JJ Redick, who's the leader, right? Cancer energy is a cardinal energy, a water element, leads. Okay. So he leads in a more an emotional state, right? Him with that Taurus moon. So he's very consistent type of leader that kind of gravitates towards his emotional side, kind of like that family oriented type of leadership, right? So very well connected with, as we all know, as we've seen some of that podcast series with LeBron James and Luka Doncic, as I mentioned, with the Pisces. But that other energy that I mentioned was crucial, I think, to this overall synergy to improve was, can you guess?
Yes, I think it's Dorian Finney-Smith.
Finney-Smith,
yeah.
Who is a Taurus. Yeah. So Taurus, that's sort of like, they're very consistent. They're very down to earth. It's an earth sign, right?
Yeah.
But that connects so well with your coach, because that Taurus Cancer energy is very, very strong, and that's a big deal. So you have a good core with strong influence in this team, and that alone is very, very important for any team. And of course, majority of the rest of their sign kind of falls into that opposite element, like, you know, Austin Reeves, Alton Connect, Vincent, Land, Jamison, Vanderbilt, Milton. All these players are all the opposite energy. So they're sort of kind of like that half and half, you know, in opposing energies. But the most important thing to look at is the ones that are compatible to their star players, and that group alone, especially LeBron James, sort of like your go-to leader, it's a big deal. So they're up there. They don't have the best overall synergy, but they are up there. I would give them more like at B-, B+ overall synergy. But talent, it's an A+ for sure, right?
Right.
Along with your synergy of the coach. So, you know, if you break down the synergy of different attributes, their synergy it's like that B-, B+ range, but talent is what kind of gets them rolling.
I do wonder also, you know, LeBron picked up an injury, right? I think he's going to be out for what they said, a couple weeks, right? So what do we think this roster looks like now? Now Luka is the focus, right?
You're right.
So who do you think they should slide in to kind of keep that synergy up, or perhaps improve it a bit more towards Luka's?
So one thing, I mean, you do got to be realistic, right? Talent is talent. LeBron James is very talented. So just because he's out, I mean, I think that's going to hit him very, very hard. I was looking at the stat line just now. They did lose to Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn has a sneaky good synergy, believe it or not. They're more like an A- synergy. Because they have the coach and top 4 players in their starting lineup are all compatible, right? But their talent, of course, not as good as the Lakers and so forth. But the Lakers ended up using Alex Len to start off. He's a Gemini. Gabe Vincent is also a Gemini. Luka Doncic, who's a Pisces. Austin Reeves is a Gemini. What's up with these Geminis?
And then represent Gemini.
Dalton Connect is at Aries Taurus cusp. But that starting core is not the best, you know. I mean, even though it is a sort of 4-1, I would synergy. Okay, I would give the synergy more like an A-, mainly because of the air elements that's compatible. But the one that's not compatible is Luka Doncic. So it's that 4-1 ratio, right? Meaning
and
4.
He's the one out, yeah.
Yeah, and then the outlier is Luka. So he's sort of like the outlier, right? But their talent is not the best. You have to downgrade a little bit because Gabe Vincent, Alex Len. I mean, you're losing LeBron James, your superstar, right? So that kind of downgrades a little bit of talent and experience a little bit. So, but but yeah, that's the lineup they're putting. So in synergy, yes, is good, but yeah, realistically, you do have to look at talent. You do have to look at experience. You do have to look at everything else that falls into place. But the reason why I kind of give this, not a good starting core, because JJ Redick is a cancer, right? And the only player that's compatible to that starting core is Luka Doncic, but the rest are all of opposite energy of JJ Redick. So that also takes a hit. The synergy between that coach to starter ratio, it's not the best, but that's kind of where they're at. They're sort of a wild
I
card.
wonder if he makes changes, because this is what we said, 2 weeks, right? Two,
Yes.
3 weeks without LeBron. So, but I think this is also going to give him an opportunity. Yes, they're going to take a hit in the standings, but I think it's going to give him an opportunity for the other players to kind of start. Well, I'm sorry, for JJ Redick to start seeing, okay, what players am I going to be able to count on in the playoffs, right? How deep am I going to be able to go? This is the time when they got to step up and show me. So
Right.
for a player as an individual, you're like, okay, let me see. And that's why I wonder if we will see him change the style lineup based on the opponent. Too.
Yes.
I suppose. Because with LeBron, he's in the lineup, right? You don't care the opponent,
Right.
but going to what you're saying, so I wonder maybe that's also how he's taking this approach. As opposed to. Go ahead.
I think Jordan Goodwin would be a good fit in the starting core. I mean, to kind of just knowing what they have. I know Dorian Finney-Smith didn't play today, but if he was playing and healthy, I think Dorian Finney-Smith would be good with Luka, with that starting core. At least that gives Luka an arsenal to have a good connection that helps his overall synergy from his standpoint, right? Because he handles the ball majority of the time. It's a high influence, high usage type of player, so that kind of gives him that leverage. The more energies you feed your star player, the better, right? So Dorian Finney-Smith being at Taurus gives that stability with that Pisces energy, kind of holds that strength right there. So you kind of, connecting the pieces a little bit. So, from what they have, I think that's kind of their best shot right now, and let Luka do his magic, from there on, because he struggled. He today, just looking at his stats, 8 for 26. I mean, you can tell they focused everything on him. If you're the opposing team, you know what to do. Hey, Luka,
right?
There's no LeBron. Hey, just attack Luka, and he went 8 for 26. He had a decent game, not the best. He did have a triple double, but struggling from the field. 8 out of 26, 3 of 10 of 3-point shooting. But you kind of give and take, see what they have. So. Yeah, they're a wild card right now overall.
Yeah. I mean, but I think they're in better footing, I guess, than they were when Anthony Davis was there. I think we can say that.
Yeah.
Who's in better footing than before the trade deadline? The Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors, they are 11-1 since they got Mr. One Jimmy Butler. Or as some might say, Michael Jordan Jr., if you believe that conspiracy,
Yeah.
But this is a team, you were speaking about experience earlier with the Lakers and how they're they don't have as much. This is a team now, a very experienced team, very smart basketball IQ team. They know how to move without the ball. These three players can affect the game, and I'm talking about Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Steph Curry without having to score, right? I mean, with Jimmy gives you defense as well. I mean, Green obviously rebounds, assists, but I mean, with Curry, I mean, just his gravity pull of the attention that he's still pulling at this stage in his career, right? Like that opens the game up for everybody, and I think that just throwing Jimmy Butler in there, it's just like I said, another smart basketball kid is going to always make the right play.
You're right.
So and. I know, according to NBA.com, the stats, Curry has handled the ball more since Butler's addition. So I did wonder, maybe now they're starting to get into, okay, let's start to get into like playoff mode, kind of, let's start getting this team ready. I know in the beginning of the season they try to, hey, we're gonna play everybody, right? Hey, for a second it was working, then it wasn't working, and you have to make adjustments, right? But I know we did break down this team in a quick succession, but let's take a little bit more time, break this team down synergy-wise, the lineups that they're using. Yeah, tell us, what are they?
So the main point I'll point, there's different levels of synergies I like to look at and break them down a little bit. So the most important thing is your top three players, obviously Draymond Green, Curry, and Butler. The synergy among those three individuals, Green being a Pisces, also Curry being a Pisces, and Butler being a Virgo. So they're all mutable signs, right? Very compatible, A+. When they made the trade for Butler, that was a grading I gave for those trios, the A+. But they do have a lot of opposing energies opposite of them, right? Steve Kerr, even though he's opposite energy of those three, Moody, who starts, and Quentin Post, who also starts. Quentin Post being a cusp of a Pisces Aries, right? Moody being a Gemini. But the reason why they make it work, because, the synergy strength is their three best players. That's a big deal. That's a good thing for any team, right? Because, the usage and how often they utilize those players. Curry shoots the ball a lot. Draymond Green sets screens and facilitates. Butler does defense. I mean, you have the strength, the synergy strength where it matters, in other words, right? So the synergy strength for those trio I just mentioned, A+. Overall synergy, I would give it maybe like a B plus overall. Coach synergy, I would give it maybe like a B minus overall, B minus, B plus. But talent is there, of course. Experience is definitely there. That's A plus talent, A plus experience. I mean, that's good. That's very good. Overall, they're a good, solid, foundational team. They do have a lot of mutable energy, so I still feel like they're missing that fixed type of energy. Maybe a Taurus, maybe a Scorpio. I feel like that's something that they might be lacking. But I think for now, they're able to do.
And there's no Scorpio on the team right now, or
no,
that kind
there's
of
no
sign?
Scorpio. Not really. But they're making it work, and then where it matters, the synergy strength between the top three players. Hey, that's a big deal. So yes, but also consider really quick. Beginning of the year, remember everyone was talking about the Warriors. They won tons and tons of games. Remember Buddy Hield was shooting lights out. Buddy Hield, Sagittarius, right? And I looked at that lineup, and the first thing I saw was like, wow, mutable dominant. The majority of the players are all mutable signs, from Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, etc. Right? And the first thing I said while they had that winning streak, I was like, man, what's one negative trait about mutable signs in general? Okay, is that they could be inconsistent, but not. I shouldn't say negative. They're more inconsistent because they kind of go with the flow, right? So they're the ones that's not really linear. They kind of, depending on what element if you have the fire element, the water element, whatever it is, they kind of go up and down, right? And they go, with whatever the rhythm is. So there is inconsistency to that. And this is the type of team where I see where they can have a big lead, but also lose a lead within the same game, because that is not as consistent. If you look at a team like the Rockets, they have nothing but fixed signs, dominant. I mean, these are two extreme teams where I say fixed dominant or mutable dominance that could be lacking at several aspects of the game. But as long as you know how to utilize it effectively, hey, good things can happen. Because what's the good thing about mutable signs as well? They can adapt too. So they are losing a game, they could adapt and they'll figure a way out to get back into games and so forth. But they have to figure a way to use that to their advantage. So far they're doing good. But as long as Steve Kerr puts them in the right places, hey, good things can happen with this Warriors team.
You know who's in the right place right now, in the perfect place? Nikola Jokic. And that's what we're going for a third topic. And it's crazy, the lore of Nikola Jokic just keeps growing. He's the first person in NBA history with the 30-20-20 game. He had 31 points, 21 rebounds, and a career high 22 assists against the Phoenix Suns on Friday night. And it was the quietest 30 points, right? Like, there's this quote that I want to read to you, I think it kind of speaks to where he is, the mentality, and just, the synergy as well.
Okay.
They asked him, and he said, it's not supposed to go that way. And this is from the AP News, from the great Michael Kelly. I haven't met him, but I think he's great. Michael Kelly, let's go. He said, Jokic said, it's not supposed to go that way. I was talking to Aaron Gordon, and he said to me, that was a quiet 30 points. Mm-hmm. And then Jokic continued, I didn't do anything special. It just seemed like everyone was in flow.
Yeah.
Like you have for the past 3, maybe 4 years, and even before we started Hoopstrology, you told me, man, them Denver Nuggets, I swear they know this shit because their synergy. Like you have been on this train on Denver Nuggets and their synergy that even the players they replace improve the synergy more often than not, right? So just like, and I think that has to be one of the reasons why Jokic has been able to, get these triple doubles. Everybody just flows.
Right.
Like he said himself, everything was just flowing. Like you didn't even feel like you were doing these things because the game was just in flow. Everybody was just synergy. So tell us once again about this Denver Nuggets
Oh
team
my God! With the
and about Nikola Jokic.
Denver Nuggets have it made. This team is so perfect for Nikola Jokic. But here's the thing. Going back in time, the old days, right? Back in 2016, where I started looking in this whole synergy thing, trying to understand, and I built this little database of kind of like, okay, what are the signs? Denver stood out. But check this out. Back in 2015-16, no one was really talking about the Denver Nuggets, 17 or so. But when I looked at that team before they even started being good in a sense, because they were sort of like in that mid-range type of team where they were like, okay, they're all right, but no one really talked about them. But when I saw their synergy, like, man, this team is good, And there was a time I remember Jokic and was that other guy's name Nurkic. They were kind of like, okay, going back and forth to see who's going to start or whatever. And the one thing I did notice, every player that kept on joining the Nuggets or via transaction or picking players were all compatible to Jokic. So what I'm trying to say is, starting from like when he first joined the team, that team was already built, set for him. I mean, him being a Pisces. So Jokic's a Pisces, Malone's a Virgo. Virgo-Pisces connection is really, really strong. You see that all over the place. Look at champions with Mahomes from this is football, right? Chiefs, Mahomes being a Virgo, and also Andy Reid being a Pisces. You see a lot of these Virgo-Pisces type of connections. Harden and Zubac is also a Pisces-Virgo connection. So that alone is a strong point. I mean,
a classic one. Shaq and Kobe. Shaq and Kobe.
There you go. When you have your best player with your coach, understanding each other, collaborating, and, good things happen. Okay. But not only that, guess who else is compatible with Jokic? You have Gordon being a Virgo, Michael Porter Jr. being a Cancer. You have Westbrook being a Scorpio, Jamal Murray, who's a sort of like their co-superstar, Pisces. All of them are all compatible to Jokic. Jokic feels at home, very comfortable when he plays on the floor with these teammates, because everyone knows their role and they understand each other's vision. They understand each other's energies. They speak, quote unquote, speak the same language. When you have that type of synergy, that will take you so many places, because it's you don't really have to say anything. It's like you already know who's a go-to player. You already know your role without even struggling or without even having any conflicts or anyone. You kind of just do it, and then good things just tend to happen. The Denver Nuggets definitely have that. Jokic each year. No wonder has it been 3 MVPs already? Was it 3 or 2? I don't know, but he's won so many MVPs already, and that's the reason why. Last 7 MVPs, if you go back to look at the roster, especially the starters, they're all of compatible core, and I mentioned that. I tweeted about that, And it's amazing. The synergy is real. I mean, the synergy analysis is very, very real. And I've seen it so many times. And that's part of the reason why even SGA, if you look at his roster, also very compatible. SGA, he has a really good shot at winning it all. But he's also another good example. But he's more like a leader type. So there's different type of star players, right? SGA is a Cancer. He's more like that leader type of energy that kind of leads, right? You can tell by the way he plays. While you look at someone like Jokic, just study his play style. He's not really the go-to scorer. Like, what does he do? He facilitates, he rebounds. He's more like a team player. And guess what? He's a Pisces. He's more like of that facilitator, adaptable, depending on what defense plays him. He adapts accordingly. Right. Whereas SGA is like, man, I'm a leader. I'm that cardinal energy. I'm just going to make it happen. I need to bring my team. So, you can get a sense his play style and what he brings to the table too. Different type of players, but both are in a great place synergy wise with their teams. And that's the reason why a lot of people talks about him being MVP. So,
yeah, it's interesting, with Jokic, 3 MVPs he actually has. He's in contention to win this year. He keeps doing things where you're like, oof. You keep looking at whether even the SGA has his first S already on there, but you keep looking at Jokic, like he just keeps doing things.
You're right, man.
And it's uncomfortable, not uncomfortable, but just like the amazement that we get to watch a player like Jokic in our lifetime, that he's going to replace one of the. Whoever you had in your top 5, he's going to replace one of those top 5 center positions. I mean, if he gets one more championship, it's done. Like,
for sure.
He's arguably top 5 already, if you even want to say that, right? 3 MVPs
And a great
alone.
3-point shooter. He could shoot.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
If Alperen Sengun of the Houston Rockets can be half of Jokic, that's a win. Because there's no replacing. And speaking about the Houston Rockets, our hometown Zodiac.
I like that. I like how you transitioned. That was smooth.
You like that? You like that?
Gemini, of course, man. I like it.
I do what I can. I do what I can. Yeah. So the Houston Rockets, they played today, right? They played was it the Magic? Let me see.
Yes.
Yeah, the Magic. 97 and 84. They win. They stay locked into that fifth seed.
Okay.
They played the first game with Amen Thompson, who got hurt. You hate to see how it happened because you're like double-digit lead, but you understand why you want him to get one more rebound, and then but then he was doing too much, but then he was like, but that's who he is. He does so much. That's what people like him playing. Okay, he goes all out, and it's hard to tell him, hey, go get your triple-double, but have speed. It's just it's tough. It's just tough. Like, I understand every angle of it. He's a young player, right? You want him to get his, he probably wanted to get back in there. I don't know. It's tough for the Houston Rockets to lose a player. I know he's a cancer, right? So he has helped that starting lineup, which I think I believe that's.
Amen Thompson's Aquarius with Cap. Wait. Are you talking about Amen Thompson, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He's an Aquarius. Aquarius with Capricorn.
Aquarius. I know why I thought. Yeah, Aquarius. So, but yeah. So. What do we make about the Rockets now going forward? Like I said, they once again goes a Magic, but now taking Amen Thompson out of the starting lineup.
Yeah,
who did they start today?
So they pretty much put Jabari Smith back, right? So
okay.
Jabari Smith, Eason started the last game, but it's sort of Jabari Smith and Eason, both Tauruses, by the way, starting in the front court, right? And you have Dylan Brooks being that 2 guard, I'm assuming, and then being Aquarius. So you have this is interesting. You have 2 Taurus and Smith Jr. and Eason. You have Brooks and Green, Aquarius, and then you have the Leo right the center position, Alperen Sengun.
So it's like a 4-1.
They're all. It's a 3-2. I mean, synergy wise, it's about mediocre, right? It's not the best as far as synergy, and a lot of people have actually talked about their starting unit being, they have a lot of negative ratings here and there, but what really gets them over the top, you got to give Coach a lot of props, man. Ime Udoka, him being that Leo with that Gemini moon, he's a very good communicator, first of all, but also very a good culture setters. Remember, fixed energies make good culture setters, right? So he sets the tone, and his mentality, as people already kind of seen and get a feel of Ime, that tough nose and old school type play style, defense, right? And that's what you're getting out of the Houston Rockets, that hard-nosed, defensive-minded core group, that's very scrappy. And, they get the job done. Remember, fixed energies, one of the strengths is that they do get the job done, right? And they're all linear, and they're more like fixated in the energy type. And then when you have all those fixed energies together, it's kind of hard to get through them because they're going to get it done. Whatever, if they have their mentality straight, they're going to get it done, right? But just kind of keep a close eye on that fixed energy because that could falter backwards in a negative way too because fixed signs could be stubborn too. So all it takes is that one energy to not like, if someone tells them to do something, fixed energies don't really like being told what to do. If someone tells a fixed energy, even one of these Taurus or Aquarius or even a Leo, bad things can happen. I mean, not bad things, but it could go downhill. I mean, that's just I'm just kind of giving an overall analysis. So,
right.
And this could be an effect, because if you're playing a high intensity situation, especially in the playoffs, I mean, everyone's already locked in, and then you might have a couple of energy be like, hey, do this, or you forgot this, and then you might have another energy be like, no, don't tell me what to do, or you kind of retaliate, that sort of stuff. That's kind of what I mean, right? So, but yeah. Defensive minded, they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, and Amen Thompson being out is going to hurt them. Yes, because Amen brings a lot to the table. He's a versatile. He's sort of like does a little bit of everything for his position. I mean, he's elite at what he does. You get a sense of that. He's a rising star. So, yeah,
definitely a rising star. They're going to miss him, but I think it's also, this is if he had to get injured, right? I guess he's going to be out 2 weeks, right? So just kind of bring him back slowly because we definitely going to need him in the playoffs, these Houston Rockets. I think it's good. They're gonna stay in the top 6. I just don't know where. Right? I think after one,
they've been sliding. they do need Fred VanVleet. VanVleet's that sort of like that one energy that kind of helps them enable things a little bit, you know. So.
Yeah, you know, definitely they definitely need them. I think Thunder locked in at 1. I think Denver and the Lakers, they're gonna keep switching back 2 and 3. I think so. I think the Rockets are gonna be anywhere from 4, 5, and 6. You know, I think the Warriors, I know they're close. The Warriors are 36-28, closer to the play-in, but I think they're going to start pulling away, getting some more, wins.
You're right. But Memphis won again tonight. Denver won again tonight. And Rockets won. So
the good thing is that I think the 12 of the next 13 for Houston, if I was reading correctly, are against sub-500 teams or teams out of the playoffs. News, so it's good news. But hey, you got to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? Just because they're on the schedule, you still got to take care of business. So and hey, we took care of business in this episode. And any final words, Zodiac?
Hey, follow us on Twitter X, the Zodiac GM, and Hoopstrology.
And follow me, Jesus_Acevedo Jr. and follow the Bayou Citian. And don't forget to subscribe. See ya.